Troy Doyle with www.arkansasshowcaseradio.com show. And we got a real treat for you today. We're doing an interview with Shalamar. And we're lucky enough to have Howard Hewitt and Carolyn Griffey to come on. They're the lead singers on it. And we did a Zoom interview with them. And man, it was a blast. And I think this is one of the best interviews we've done. And so stay tuned, enjoy. And it's coming up, Shalamar. So stay tuned, enjoy. And I'm out of here. I'll see you just back in here just a little bit. Bye-bye. Okay, now I'm here. Hot dog.
Hot dog.
Now, boy, I tell you, you guys have a million videos. I've been reading up on you guys and everything. And I'm like, holy crap. I mean, there's a million videos of you guys. I mean, you taking videos of cow poop and all kinds of stuff.
Hey, I'm a cow girl. I love cow poop.
I said, you reached it if you can take videos of cow poop.
It was some big poop.
It was. I was like, holy crap.
Listen, who took videos of cow poop?
Remember when we were in that field in Sudbury with Lorraine, and we were walking through that field where the cows were?
Oh, yeah.
Cow. I thought you was going to go cow tipping or something. I didn't know.
Not those cows. Those were some big cows.
Yeah, man. I remember that. So.
Okay, now you can move there. Okay. But hey, we want to welcome you guys to the show. You guys are mega people. I mean, you've been around forever there, Howard.
Forever.
Ever.
Yeah, I tell you, I was amazed. Like I was telling Carolyn, I've been watching all you guys' videos and everything, and I mean, it's amazing. But before we get started, I know you've said this a million times. Go ahead, Howard. If you could tell them how you got started with Shalamar. I know you've said that a million times.
Okay. How I got started with Shalamar.
Yeah, she's gone to sleep already. I've heard this too many damn times.
No. Because there's a difference how I got started than how I got started with Shalamar. That's so we can pinpoint that. So that's cool. No, Shalamar actually. I met Jeffrey and Jody actually a couple years before Shalamar even existed. I was with a show group called Beverly Hills, actually, and there was these people, John Daniels and Alonzo Daniels, down at this place called Mavericks Flat in the Crenshaw district. And Mavericks Flat used to be a club, as well as it was a club on the weekends, and then on the weekdays upstairs were these rehearsal rooms and offices, and they had a booking agency also called Maverick International. And so on the weekends, like I said, it was a club, and all the Soul Train people used to come down there on the weekends. And that's where I first met Jeffrey and Jody, and the group that I was with, Beverly Hills. When we had a show that we were rehearsing everything, we had put everybody together. And whenever we had a show that we wanted to try out on an audience, we would play at Mavericks Flat on Friday and Saturday. So that's where I first met Jeffrey, and that's where he first heard me perform, heard me sing. And like I said, this was before Shalamar existed. Once the group Beverly Hills the Beverly Hills group that I was with was in shape enough to tour, we went overseas for about a year and a half, a little less than a year and a half or so. Came back home after that time. The group broke up before we left England, and I came back home and I started kind of kicking around LA and doing sessions and working with different people. And I ended up working on an Eddie Hazel project that this guy, Jeffrey Bowen, was putting together for Motown. Eddie Hazel used to be Parliament Funkadelic guitar player, and I ended up I was working with him on this project. It was a self-contained project. And we worked for about 2 months or so, 2.5 months. And after a minute, the checks were good at first, were real cool at first, but then after a minute, it started getting to not reflecting what the work that we were doing, you know what I'm saying? And so I had dropped my lady off at the time. She worked for Don Cornelius at the Soul Train Dance Studios. I dropped her off at work, and I said, I'm going to the Motown building to, have a meeting with this cat, Jeffrey Bowen, to get some stuff off my chest. So I go to the meeting, and I'm sitting in at the time. So Motown had the top three floors of this high-rise office building, the 17th, 16th, and 15th floor. And so I'm sitting on the 15th floor in this office talking to Jeffrey Bowen and his co-producer, this cat named Angelo. And I'm there, you guys giving me the Motown runaround, what we used to call the Motown runaround back in the day. And I'm in the middle of my whole thing, and the phone rings, right? And I remember Angelo answered the phone, and he looked at me. He said, it's for you. And I said, well, if it's my lady, tell her I'll call her back, when I get done. He says, well, it's not a lady, it's a guy. And this is before cell phones. So if it was long distance, you could hear all the crackling and everything in the line, you know what I'm saying? So he said, it's a guy, and it sounds like it's long distance. So I get on the phone, and it's Jeffrey Daniel from Shalamar. And Jeffrey Daniel. So it was like, so they were in on the East Coast in the middle of a promotional tour. And, evidently the guy, Gerald Brown, and they got into some type of whatever. I don't know. I didn't have anything to do with that. But got into some kind of thing. And then he left them, said, well, when y'all can see it my way, give me a call. So he gets on the plane and splits, right? And so Jeffrey knows that my lady works for Don, so he calls her, and she tells him that I'm at the Motown building.
By the way, Gerald Brown is still waiting for that phone call.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But he's she tells him I'm at the Motown.
What was the lady's name? You keep saying lady. What was the lady's name? You remember?
Yeah, Howard.
My lady? Oh yeah, she became my wife. The mother of my two children, my two older children. Her name was Rainey. Yeah, I definitely remember that name. She told Jeff that I was at the Motown building, and Jeff, he still won't tell me to this day how he got to that exact office that I was in. And but he got in there, and he offered, long story short, he offered, an equal position in the group as lead singer. And he says, you're at the Motown building, right? I said, yeah. He said, where are you? I said, I'm on the 15th floor. And he says, well, Solar's offices, and at the time, Solar was the record company that Shalamar was with. Solar's offices are in that same building down on the 9th floor. So he said, we talked to Dick, and Dick is waiting for you to get in contact with him.
Who's Dick?
Blah.
Yeah, who is Dick?
Dick Griffey, who owned the record company. Dick Griffey.
Oh, I never heard of him.
Dick Griffey, I know, that's just, yeah. Dick Griffey owned the record company. He was the owner of the record company. So I got off the phone, and I told the guys, I told Jeffrey Bowen and Angelo Bond, I told them what the deal was, and they started talking. And Angelo says, man, Shalamar is nothing but a fly-by-night disco group. They'll never amount to anything. Solar will never be a Motown, all that kind of stuff. So I just sat back and listened to them. When they got done, I said, well, my car is parked on the street downstairs, so I need to go put some money in the meter before I get a ticket, right? So I got up, I left, and I went right down to the 9th floor, got in, talked to Dick Griffey, and then, he said, I told him that I would call. He reiterated what Jeff said. I told him I would call him back the next morning, because I had to give these people a chance to kind of rectify themselves, as far as, because it was, it was still, we hadn't signed contracts yet, but it was still my word. I was still working with them. So I called them, told them I'd be home if they want to call me, you know, and I'll be home all night. Nobody called. So the next morning, which was Saturday morning, I go over to Dick Griffey's house and watch a videotape of a Shalamar show, sitting in this rocking chair. Videotape goes off. And then Dick comes down, well, sing something. You know, Jeffrey and Jody say you're a great singer, sing something. And I said, just sing something, a cappella like that? He said, yeah. And I said to myself, I said, well, Lord, me and you, right? And I started into this song by Peebo Bryson called Feel the Fire, and got through the first verse, half the hook. Dick says, okay, I'll be right back. He goes upstairs, comes back down, gives me some little bit of cash. You know, he said, you can leave this with your old lady, pay some bills. And then he went in his other pocket and brought out an airline ticket. And back then, you know, that I could ride on your ticket. You know, you could ride on my ticket out. This was before, you know, 9/11. So, you know, he got an airline ticket, brought out an airline ticket. He said, you got to catch the red eye out tonight and meet Jeffrey and Jody in New Jersey tomorrow morning. We had to learn the lip sync and the choreography to take that to the bank. He said, because Monday, uh-oh, are you still there?
You're there.
Okay, go. Somebody trying to call me.
Tell them you're busy.
Because he said, because Monday you got a TV show to do. And that's exactly how it went down. I got the offer on Friday, did a little lightweight audition, I guess, on Saturday. Saturday night, I caught the red eye out, met Jeffrey and Jody in New Jersey at the Robert Treat Hotel, and learned the choreography and the lip sync to, I did the Milli Vanilli thing way before Milli Vanilli did it. Because
when they told you, hey, you got to go lip sync, we really like your voice, but we'd rather have you lip sync. Didn't that seem kind of?
Well, back then, that's the only way you could do TV shows. It was all about lip sync. You know, it wasn't that they didn't want me to sing it. I never sung that song, actually, to be honest. And but like, you know, just that back then, that's when that's what you did. I mean, even Soul Train, when you went on Soul Train, you didn't sing live. Most of 90% of the people didn't sing live. They lip sync. So, you know, so lip sync and the rest is history, as they say.
Hey, Howard, when we go back on tour, I want you to lip sync.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Howard?
Get up on stage and do this.
I would love to lip sync.
Okay,
I would love to lip sync.
I would switch to you, Carolyn. And, you know, I've been watching some videos on you, and I'm amazed that how your culinary skills of making mayonnaise and salt sandwiches. That was amazing. Yeah.
Where was that?
It's on one of your videos. I told you there's a million videos.
Oh, my Lord. I haven't. The funny thing is my mother, which her name is Carrie Lucas, she was also an artist on Solar Records. I went on tour with her when I was a little girl, and I never forget, she was in Soundcheck forever. And it was me. I'm Howard. Remember Clyde Wasson?
Mm-hmm. The what?
Remember Clyde Wasson?
Oh, yeah, Clyde. Yeah, definitely.
Clyde's daughter, Sharice, and I were sitting in the hotel, stuck waiting to go to IHO. We wanted to go to Denny's or something like that. And we didn't have anything. And I looked around, there was some mayonnaise and there was some bread and some salt. That was the best mayonnaise and salt sandwich I've ever had. And I don't think I made one since.
We used to do mayonnaise sandwiches all the time when I was a kid. We would use Miracle Whip, though, because Miracle Whip was a little sweeter. That was my daddy's thing. You know, yeah. Miracle Whip was a little sweeter. Couldn't do it with the plain mayonnaise because, you know, it was just plain. But Miracle Whip was good. We used to make syrup sandwiches.
Hey, Howard. Howard, we're twins.
All right.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Just
put my hat on, but huh?
Well, the hat is Oakley.
Yeah, so. But my hat says Las Vegas.
Now, Carolyn, you basically grew up in Soul Train. Now, how did you make the transition to Shalamar? I mean, when you first saw Shalamar, I mean, you was probably right there. Did you think they would make it?
Oh,
She loved us.
I didn't think about things like that. You be quiet, Howard. You let me tell this. Stay out of this. Can you mute him? Well, actually, after I spent many years getting smacked in the head with rolled up magazines by Howard Hewitt, I guess finally he just beat me enough to where I just said, hey, you know what? I might as well. Nobody else is doing it. No, Howard.
I've known Carolyn since you, how old, 11, 12 years old or something?
I used to babysit Howard's kids. I changed their diapers.
Yeah.
And we've always been close, but the funny thing
not to cut you off, but when we did the when Jeffrey and I decided to do like 20 years ago or something like that, Jeffrey and I decided we got an offer to join to go to Asia and do about 5 shows in Asia, and we called the previous member first and
say her name
Jody Watley. We called Jody Watley. And said, you want to go to Japan and have some fun, do some of the old material and make some nice money and stuff. And her thing was like, well, I don't think I want to. No, I said like that. I don't think I want to. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She said, I don't think I want to. She said, I don't think I want to revisit that part of my life, and I didn't say it, but in my mind, I was like, you mean the part of your life that's like your legacy? That's your legacy. That's what you don't want to revisit. But I didn't say it because everybody's experience with different experiences through life are not the same. You can have 2 people that experience the same thing, and they'll come away with 2 different takes on it. So
yeah,
Shalamar,
because my Shalamar experience was totally different than his.
Yeah, exactly. So so like at that time, Jeffrey and I went and did the
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. But see,
he was on a roll.
Howard's setting you up. He's setting the whole thing up for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen,
You know the setup.
I'm just messing with him. This is the longest that it's been that Howard and I have not seen each other. So naturally, just don't smile so much. You shouldn't look so happy.
I know. That's why I look. That's why I look so rested.
Your face should look like this.
No, that's why I look so rested and stress free.
Well, that's all right, honey. But it's over.
Okay, I'm gonna set this up, and then you go on with it, because at that time, Jeffrey and I, we said, okay, well, we'll go to Japan and do the show and do the shows ourselves. So we took the band, we went over there. 2 of us did it. Then we did a couple UK tours and Africa situation. And then when we decided we wanted to bring the female entity back into the group. I mean, we didn't audition anybody. We didn't, think about anybody else except Carolyn, because not only is she an amazing talent, she has an amazing voice, looks amazing, but she also knew the history of the group, which was
the truth is, Howard won't tell it the right way. I knew all the words to the songs.
And I needed her there to make sure that I just needed me there
from hey, what's the next line?
He's getting older.
But as you see, we joke around a lot, but the funny thing is, and going back to that, Howard didn't put it like that. When he asked me to go over, he kind of just said it like, hey, we're doing a show. You kind of want to. I didn't really think of it as replacing Jody. I kind of was going to do vocals, and it didn't really hit me. Duh, there's no female in the group. You're gonna go over, we'll go over there, and I didn't want to do it. But I did, and it was nerve-wracking for me, because for me, like I say, my Shalamar experience was completely different. being that I was there from the beginning, and I hate saying this because I have, I have a close relationship with all of the artists on Solar, but everybody knows Shalamar was my favorite group. I was the biggest Shalamar fan. Be quiet, Howard. I was the biggest Shalamar fan. I used to have, because when your dad owns the record company and he's got all the promotional stuff, I had the stand-ups of Shalamar in my room, posters, and everything that they would put in back then, the in stores, flats. My room was completely decorated Shalamar. And people used to tease me because all my friends in school, because I used to always wear the Shalamar pin. It was a picture of the Look album. And they literally would tease me if I didn't have it on. They were like, okay, check her for holes, because all of my clothes had holes from the Shalamar button. But I was, I did it, and it was uncomfortable for me because, like I said, the thing is, and regardless of what's put out in the public and social media, I grew up with all three. I grew up being close to all three. And matter of fact, Jody's sister and I were best friends, and we're still to this day very good friends. In my eyes, when they split, it was like, how dramatic teenagers were. I went in, if there was goth at that time, that would have been me. I shut myself in my room. I cried. I was depressed. Total teenager. It really just, it was a really bad time in my life because, this, not only was it my favorite group, but these were my people.
Aww.
So,
that's
Aww.
and I'm Howard's itching to say it. And I had the hugest crush.
Here comes a crush
on Howard Hewitt. Matter of fact, I only dated boys in school that kind of, there's this boy that used to wear his hair like Howard's, and that's the only reason I liked him. And but the funny thing is, and then we did it, and then my father called a meeting, and then he sat down with all of us, and he basically, went over the fact that, hey, you guys asked her to do this, so now, you know what, let's go ahead, and why don't you guys do this officially? So, and I didn't want to do that. I actually called Jody, and I kind of had it out with my dad. I was like, Daddy, I don't want to do that. Because in my eyes at that time, I was young. I wasn't seasoned. I didn't want to replace anybody, but at the same time, there was nobody else doing it. Jody never responded, to me reaching out. And I had left several messages. I even called family and left, some emails, and she never responded. And then from what I understood, like Howard said, that she just said that she didn't want to revisit that time in her life. So at that point to me, I said, okay, you know what? I'll do this. And when I started traveling with them, I was a nervous wreck because, like I say, even though I was in my own group, I was in Absolute, we were on Epic Records, we hadn't toured. I had done a lot of performances, studio work and little shows here and there, but nothing like what Shalamar was doing. Plus the fact that it was a lot of pressure on me because this being the group, I idolized them. And the thing is, I wanted to, make sure that I could do the group some justice. Well, in my opinion, back then, I wasn't doing justice. And it was very nerve-wracking because I faced I got a lot of flack. You're not Jody Watley, you're not this, you're not that. And I'm sorry?
From the fans, you got that?
From the fans. It wasn't an easy transition, but Howard and Jeffrey really, they really supported me, and they really helped me through a lot. There's things that I would say on stage, and Howard would go afterward. He goes, "Don't ever say that again." I never forget. We were doing a show, and I said, "And now for our next song." And on stage,
don't ever say that again.
And one thing about Howard, and I've always loved and respected this, it doesn't matter. Howard could be fighting with his wife or friend or whatever. We could be fighting, but in public,
his lady,
you will never know his lady. You will never know because Howard is so professional that he just looked at me like, oh my gosh, I think she really did that. But he got me backstage and he said, Carolyn, he said it with a smile. He said, "Don't ever say that again."
I mean,
but like I said, I had so much respect for what, Carolyn brought to the table as far as that was concerned. And one of the most important things also was, like I said before, was that she brought a knowledge of the group and a respect for the group.
A respect.
That was you wouldn't be able to get that from anybody else. And we just enjoyed it. And plus, like, even at
Howard
that
let
time
me be his groupie. I forgot to say that.
yeah.
When unfortunately when Jody and Jeffrey left, and Mickey and Delisa came in, Howard always let me. I was always trying to be a little, groupie tag along, but I hung in there. I hung in there. Like I say, Howard was in the group, so it was like, hey, he's there, I'm there. I was at video shoots. I was at their, when they were taking pictures of the album. So I've always been there, and it finally got to the point where I stopped trying to follow the shadow of Jody, and I started to finally find myself and realize I'm not replacing Jody. I am celebrating a legacy, and it's also my legacy. Mm-hmm. With my father being Dick Griffey and being able to be blessed to be around this whole Solar family. I mean, it's almost like, and if you think about it, out of all the record companies and all the groups, our scenario, there's not a scenario like ours. Mm-mm. It's a very interesting story. And even like I say, with the different members, I to this day have great relationships with them as well.
Like whenever anybody would always say, well, so Carolyn is doing the Jody Watley parts. I said, no, Carolyn is doing the Carolyn parts. She's taken those parts and made them into Carolyn Griffey. And that's what's most important, not to try and and that's what I would always try and impress upon Carolyn in the beginning also, is that these are, take this and make this stuff your own, and you're not replacing anything. You're coming in and you're enhancing, like you said, a legacy, so.
And what's so funny, and I don't know, Howard, I think I've told you a couple of times, it almost just became natural because, like I say, it was a natural fit because I had always been around Howard and Jeffrey. So it was like being there with family. But sometimes when I started, before I was just singing, watching Howard and really and like I say, I sang with background for Howard too. When Howard does his solo stuff, I was also going on the road, sometimes and doing stuff with him. So I started, I realized that I needed to really, work on my craft. And when I made a mistake, just trying not to show that, but, watching these guys. And I mean, one night it just hit me. It's like, it wasn't Howard or my Jeffrey. It was, this is Howard Hewitt of Shalamar. And I looked over and I was like, this is Jeffrey Daniel. This is the man that taught Michael Jackson the backslide and the moonwalk and choreographed videos. And I fangirled. And then I realized, I looked up and I looked out into the crowd and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like it out of nowhere, it just hit me. And it was just crazy. But at that point though, it was a transition because I used to watch how artists would rev themselves up because they couldn't wait to get out on stage. And I was still very fearful. It's like, it really was a blessing to have Howard and Jeffrey with me because they worked with me. They made me feel comfortable. They helped me. And it was a security blanket for me. But then, when I started kind of coming into my own, it's like, it just completely flipped. And somebody said, who's that fat Jody Watley? Well, and I remember I'd had my daughter and I had just gained some weight. And when I saw that comment on YouTube, I said, you know what? Ain't nobody going to mistake me for Jody or they'll make that kind of joke ever again. So I took it upon myself to get a trainer, and I became a certified trainer as well. And I got in shape. I started bodybuilding and working on my physique. And the great thing was, if vocally it wasn't something that I did that stood out, now they knew my physique. There was no more mistaking the woman in the middle because we had some issues with her thinking we used her likeness. I was like, you know what? We're going to put a stop to that. So now if there's a silhouette or a shadow, it's undeniably
And after
me.
you got the guns and everything, Howard talked a lot nicer to you, didn't he?
Actually,
No,
you know what? That's what a normal person would do, but not
no.
Howard. Howard started talking more mess. Like, well, yeah, punk. Yeah. Howard's like,
I'll be doubling down, boy. I'll be doubling down.
you don't know. Listen, you don't know seriously, you have no idea how we get terrorized on the road. It's like we will be tired and traveling for hours, and then you wake up, and next thing you know, you're getting pictures sent to your room from his phone of you like this. Howard has every slobber picture of Jeffrey, and then there's one time he put something on Jeffrey and took pictures.
Guy.
But his daughter got him back for 1 year for his birthday. She had talked to us, and I was we helped get all the pictures of Howard over the years sleep. So he's got a whole book of him
That
sleeping.
my daughter put together. The niece will put
I feel
together.
like
Yeah,
Howard Stern here. I don't know.
I know, right?
Oh, it gets worse.
It's like-
But you know, you guys probably had a lot of highlights. I know Howard has. I mean, let me ask you something, Howard. If you had to rank them, okay, what would you think would be your highlights? Would it be, you know, winning a Grammy, selling out Wembley, or doing the podcast for chicken wings air fried?
Yeah,
Hey, and that's
chicken
what
wings
I
air
want
fried.
to ask you. Where's our chicken wings?
The air fried chicken wings are pretty much, they're almost up at the top of the list, almost up there. But I tell you,
who gave you your first air fried chicken wings?
you did, yeah. First told me about it. First told me, and I got an air fryer, and I just went crazy for a while. But you know, I'm gonna tell you, it's like, you know, the thing about the Grammy, I remember because two dear friends of mine were up for the Grammy in the same category, George Duke and Stanley Clark, right?
Wow.
And I remember the category was one on the pre-air on the pre-air part of the Grammys. In other words, it wasn't on the main. It wasn't like it wasn't on the main airing. So, you know, you could be a little bit more loose and stuff. And I remember I was talking stuff. I was sitting behind Stanley and George. And I was just talking mess to them in their ears, and then our category came up, and like, you know, and said, and the winner is blah blah blah, Beverly Hills Cop. I said, see ya, poof. I went up and grabbed my Grammy and stuff. That was the highlight, I think. But I think, you know, one of the highlights in my career also, there's many as far as the career is concerned. The biggest highlights of my life of all this. No, yeah, exactly. Meeting you, Bill. Meeting you.
There we go.
No, but I always say my kids, you know, because that's my heart. They're my hearts. And but in the career, as far as the career is concerned, you know,
It's when I came.
Yeah.
One of the but in the career, one of the things was when we did, when we booked and sold out the London Palladium.
Are you serious?
Oh man, because Marvin Gaye live at the London Palladium was one of my favorite albums for years, and to walk out on stage, you know, when we did the sound check and everything, to walk out on stage on that same stage, this is the same stage that Marvin walked out on, and to know that we sold it out as well, and
including the royal boxes that they usually don't allow people.
They were hanging from the rafters and at the Palladium, and I remember doing the sound check and I called Jan, actually, Jan Gay, his widow. I called her on the phone right then. I said, Jan, you will never believe where I am. And I sent a little video and stuff to her. And that was amazing, man. That was one of the highlights, one of the many highlights, I think, of my career. There's been many more. It's hard to pinpoint exactly, you know, what each one was and what it and what it represented, because, you know, there's so many different things. Like the time when we played in Benidorm, Spain, Carol, and then we played.
Right. Oh, wow. That was so cool.
Yeah, the place where we played was this huge, club.
Spaceship.
Yeah, and we used to call it a spaceship because when I was 22 years old with Beverly Hills, I played that same place, and it was almost like, you know, I was there when I was 22 years old. I did all this all the way around here and ended up right back where I was, and basically kind of started as far as the touring thing is concerned. But one thing Jeff said when we were on the stage, he said that. He said, you know, Howard Hewitt, you know, Howard played this place when he was 22 years old. Then he said, but the only difference is that back then he was doing other people's hits. Now he's doing his own hits, you know. So that actually brought tears in my eyes when he said that, because I didn't even think about it like that, you know.
And, you know, Jeffrey's really good at that. I must admit, you know, as far as like introductions and history, Jeffrey is always really good at kind of touching on some heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
When we're on stage.
He's generous in that way. Definitely. He's very generous in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you ever get on stage with him, Roy, don't let him introduce you, because he'll be like, Roy Doyle. Next.
Then I'd have to moonwalk. I'm like, damn.
Right.
That's such pressure.
Yeah, I tell you, this has been a real pleasure having you guys on. I mean, like I said, I've done all these watching videos. I'm really tired. I hate to say this, but you got a million videos. That's why I was telling Carolyn. I mean, from cow pooping to all kinds, you air frying, and you have no way anybody can ever keep up with what you're putting into that thing. Is a spick of this and spick of that. Like, what the hell's a spick of this? What is a spick of that? And the ever-ending question, where did the wooden spoon come from? I'm like,
the wooden spoon. But got to do the wooden spoon because it's not the same.
I don't know where this came from, but if anybody knows.
So listen, you're in Little Rock.
I am.
I remember I came to Little Rock and Confunction had played there. It was an open, like it was on the river.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the name of that? What's the name of that venue?
Down the River Market.
The River Market. Howard, did you play? You played in Little Rock. I was supposed to come down, but I didn't make it. So where are you going to designate Shalamar to come do a show in Arkansas? Where would we perform if we came there?
Oh, you have to go to the auditorium. It used
to
be
the auditorium.
I forgot what it is now, but that's where you guys, because it would hold enough people to accommodate you guys.
Well, it's been the pandemic.
What's the capacity there?
I think like 70,000.
Wow.
Yikes.
Or my backyard. Who the hell cares? I don't know.
Either way. Either way, it's cool.
Ribs and beer for you guys.
That sounds wonderful for me.
You got those arms. You're working out. You can't have that.
Actually, I've lost them. I've got to get some work before I head back over to go on tour.
But hey, she got to help me with my arms.
Yours are looking good, actually.
I lost some of mine too. But
and anybody that's listening, Howard does a daily thing on Facebook that he goes on his walks, and he's been through the pandemic. He has gotten himself healthy. That's why he looks so good. He came back out the pandemic like, all right, here I am.
Yeah,
but I mean,
before you were kind of chunky there, Howard.
Huh?
Before you was kind of chunky there when you.
Yeah, like you know, I had a little bit, you know, but no, I did. I started doing this thing in the beginning of the shutdown back in March or April, somewhere around there. And, you know, it was like, you know, we're shut down, but doesn't mean that we have to be couch potatoes. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things about the virus and through my research is, you know, back and everybody knew that it thrived on low immune systems. It thrived on low vitamin D deficiencies and that whole thing. So one day I got out on my bike and I started riding and I did like there's a route, about 15 or 20 mile route around my house. And when I got halfway through it, I stopped, take a break. And I just said, well, let me go on live. I'm going to go on live and just, holler at some folks or whatever. And I went on live on my Facebook fan page, on live, and all these people flooded into the situation. And man, they were talking, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on? And so that showed me that people were looking for some type of situation to communicate, because everybody, this was a country thing. It was a global thing, but we're talking, right? This was a country thing. And so I called it, at that time, I started walking and doing my, because I would always do like a power walk, about 4 miles, somewhere around there. And so I started walking and talking, communicating, going on the Facebook fan page, and I called it FAC ... and life is fresh air, cardio ... leads to life, and life, leads to communication, leads to understanding. And then
Lots of politics.
I started talking all my stuff about what was going on politically, what was going on with the virus, what was going on with the vaccine, Operation Warp Speed, all that craziness and all that. And so I added a C to it, FACC ... and life was fresh air, cardio, conversation, which leads to life. So, we still.
What I wanted to say to you, Howard, and I never said, I think it was very commendable when the pandemic hit, and of course we were stuck at home, how a lot of the artists, because they weren't working, were doing paid concerts when they start doing it. And Howard wouldn't do that. Howard, he that was his gifting to the people that, were his fans. And he's.
Yeah, because I also started doing what I call the shut-in mini concert series. And they would be right here, and with my back, I got my background, all that kind of stuff together. And I would come on for about 35, 40 minutes or so and do some songs, talk a little bit and do some songs, because everybody was shut in. Everybody was like, we were all in the same situation. And so, like, my people would tell me, well, you got to monetize it. You got to monetize it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to monetize it. These people have supported me. My fans have supported me through Shalamar, through Howard Hewitt for the past like 30, almost 40 years. And so, like, I want to just give this back to them. They finally convinced me at least to put up my Cash App. I put my Cash App up the last couple months.
That was so we had already gone a year before you had even done that.
Yeah, I know. It was going almost a year before I did that. And that's a situation where, like, when I first put it up, I said, hey, if you want to donate to the cause, donate to the cause. If not, enjoy the show. Let's just have a good time, So, and I got a little pocket change, you know what I'm saying? So it was like cool. But
Were you able to wear your old Shalamar costumes?
Well, I don't know if I would wear. I don't know if I could get in my old Shalamar costume. I might have lost some pounds, but not then. Back then, I was like a rail.
And another good thing for Howard during the pandemic, Howard got a new look. And when he came out with that new look,
oh wow! Look at that.
Those women were like, "Ooh, honey."
Man, I'm gonna tell you, Roy. I was about 2 weeks into the shutdown. I remember sitting in my mirror, and I'm cutting the hair off the top of my ears because it's grown down a little bit, and I'm cutting it off because I didn't like it, and I hadn't had a haircut like in about 2 or 3 weeks at that time. And then after I'm sitting there cutting. And I said, what am I doing? My barber is shut down. I don't know when he's going to be back up. So, because when I find a barber, I stick to that one. I would stick to that one cat. So I just started zipping it off. I hadn't shaved my head since I was like 18, 19 years old.
Since you were in the military.
since I was in the military. Exactly. So, and then it was, they cut it off. I didn't cut it off. They cut it off. So like, but after doing it, it was like, yeah, I said, I like this. This is very low maintenance, everything. I don't even have to go to the,
All you gotta do is buy wax now.
Huh?
All you gotta do is buy wax now.
Yeah, I don't even do the wax thing, dude. I just cut it, keep it. I like to keep it. I like to feel the bristly thing. I don't like it like.
Maybe I'll do the same thing.
No, I don't think so. No. Yeah, you got your head's too big. You got a big head.
Oh,
you have a big head.
Crap! There's gonna be an ass whooping here. I tell you. But I tell you, it's been a real pleasure having you guys on. I mean. I've watched so many videos. It's good to have you right here. And I'm glad you guys are all safe. You've been vaccinated. You're healthy now, real healthy. And you're healthy now too with no hair. But it's been a real pleasure having you guys here. And if you ever come to Little Rock, be sure to look us up. We'll hook you up. I mean,
do we get those wings?
Well, I don't know what the recipe is. It's a Smith. I don't know what the hell it's
a Smith here, Smith there. But let me. But can I say before we sign up, when you mentioned about the vaccine, can I say how important it is that everybody do their due diligence? Will do whatever you need to do to research it and look at the facts about the whole thing and realize that this is the way. I'm jumping on the Joe Biden bandwagon, of like really soliciting. I'm getting ready to do about 3 PSAs. Actually, I need to do them today so I can get them done where I am like, advocating, vaccinations. We're a vaccinated nation anyway. We've been for years and years. And this is the chance to protect everybody. We had 10,000 deaths last month, up from where it was in May, and 10,000 deaths from COVID-19, and nobody that died in those 10,000 deaths, nobody were vaccinated. Nobody, they were all unvaccinated. So like, it's very, very, very important that we understand what this deal is and get on the bandwagon is getting vaccinated.
Okay, directed at Arkansas because we're the lowest in the nation.
Yeah.
Vaccinated. So tell the people in Arkansas, get off the couch and get vaccinated.
People of Arkansas, get off the couch and get vaccinated. This is the way that we can get through this thing and put this whole situation behind us. And it's a way of protecting each other, and it's like one of the things that we went through that was really sad to me as we went through this last year was the way that even just masks were politicized. You know what I'm saying? And the simple thing about masks was that we could have, if you followed the science, you found out that, the science said that if all of us would have masked up the way that we should have masked up and not been so crazy about this whole thing, we could have eradicated, or we could have basically kind of eradicated or had it totally under control within about 2 months of that whole situation. But now we ended up and we're still in this thing. We're not, just because they're opening up stuff doesn't mean that we're not still in this thing. We are still in this thing. So like, the mask, I used to look at the at Asian people all the time, all the way through the years, because Asia is a mask culture. They put on masks. And I used to look at them and say, man, they must know something that we don't know, And it's not really knowing something that we don't know. It's just basically, it is a common courtesy to your fellow man. I mean, I hope
you guys see a man going through the airport with a hat on and this shield.
Yeah, that's me.
Well,
that's me.
I tell you, it's been a real pleasure. And if you guys stay in touch, if you're ever in, like I said, ever in Arkansas, look me up and we'll hook you up, take you downtown, get some great food.
That's
Great,
good.
great,
Well, I
great. Yeah,
appreciate
Arkansas.
that. Thank you so much for having us.
Okay.
And I'm just down the road, so
Yeah, well, we're going to be going up there. Me and a friend of mine, Al Bell, we're going to go up and we're supposed to be.
oh, I love Al Bell.
We're supposed to be doing something at Stax Records down the way.
Okay, when are you guys doing that?
I don't know. Al's, and we're waiting on Al's schedule.
I got you. Well, when you see Al, you tell him Carolyn Griffey said hello and I send my love.
I sure will.
Thank you.
Okay. You guys take care. And
Take
thanks.
care. Thank you.
Take care. All right. All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.